So, nagkaroon na nga guys ng oral argument ang Korte Suprema at ang Solicitor General regarding sa PhilHealth issue. So nandito yung oral argument nila guys.
Regarding which reads, no portion of the reserve fund or income thereof shall accrue to the general fund of the national government or any of its agencies or instrumentalities, including government-owned or controlled corporations.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this the first time last year? Was it the first time that GOCCs or any government agency for that matter were required to review and reduce their respective reserve funds for the purpose of producing funds to be transferred to the national treasury?
As far as I know, this is the first time, Your Honor.
All right. So, would you agree that in so doing, review and reduce their respective reserve funds? The PhilHealth specifically reopened the closed books. Its closed books in 2021, 2022, and 2020.
Your Honor, I am not really very sure about the technical meaning of reopening one's books. But as far as I know, based on that provision of the special provision 1D, chapter 43, on the unprogrammed appropriations, what is simply required is for the GOCCs to review and reduce to a reasonable level their reserve funds on the basis of their historical disbursements over the past few years, 3 years to be more specific.
Yes,
so it's a matter of simply looking at the data pertaining to their annual disbursements for 2021, 2022, and 2023.
All right. And because of this review, the PhilHealth was able to reduce its reserve funds for these 3 years. And it is those funds that the PhilHealth transferred to the Bureau of Treasury.
No, Your Honor. They computed the reasonable amount of reserves based on actual disbursements for the past 3 years. And the remainder is the one that was used as basis for determining the amount to be remitted back to the National Treasury.
So do you mean to say, Mr. Solicitor General, that for 2021, there was an excess reserve funds?
Excess of reserve funds?
Yes.
I would say that, excess of reserve funds in relation to what, Your Honor?
Reserve funds are specifically earmarked to answer or cover payments
Yes,
of
Your
the
Honor.
claims of beneficiaries. And if there is an excess, to fund programs that will ultimately reduce the financial responsibilities of the beneficiaries. And third, if there's still excess in the excess, to invest the same. So, Mr. Solicitor General, in 2021, was there excess reserve funds?
Your Honor, if we are going by the definition of reserve fund under Section 11 of the Universal Health Care Act, that reserve fund is determined by the actuarial computation.
Yes, Mr. Solicitor General, I have no quarrel with that. My point is, was there excess funds in 2021 coming from the reserve funds of PhilHealth.
Yes, the answer to that
Yes,
question is yes,
and
Your Honor.
Section 11 tells PhilHealth what to do with the excess funds.
Exactly, Your Honor.
Doesn't it? Yes?
No, Your Honor, there is no violation. Because that responsibility on the part of PhilHealth to make use of any excess over the reserve fund for the twin purposes of increasing benefit packages and reducing the contributions from the members is something that can
Shoutout
be
po kay
implemented within the
Itching and
period of
Scratch
10
UK,
years. It's not something that
kay
has to be implemented
Carwaga, Good Morning
immediately.
Philippines,
So in other words, even if
kay
we have that
A Person,
special
hi.
provision
Shoutout sa inyo
1D,
dyan guys.
it does
Good
not
morning.
mean that the obligations of PhilHealth to spend the excess over its reserve fund has been abandoned because that is something that can be complied with at some future time. It's
At some future time.
It's a 10-year period of
Yes,
implementation.
and this is the sixth year.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you have not started with the
Kamara sa
programs
bigas.
because according to you,
Igap lang ay ilalagay natin dyan, sisigap sa ilalim ng
for
bigas.
other purposes. Because anyway, the
Meron
timeline
na, sir,
is
meron
10
na.
years.
No, Your Honor, there is no inconsistency because as we speak,
pakipuntahan mo lang muna
PhilHealth has been increasing its benefit packages even before Special Provision 1D came into effect. And more so, after that provision, special provision was enacted as part of the unprogrammed appropriations.
Yes, Mr.
We are seeing a
Reminder lang,
slew
bukas
of
tatanggalin na natin yan.
benefit increases over the past several months, Your Honor.
Several months. Not only. Several months only.
But even
When PhilHealth is required to do it from the time it has been created. This excess should have been used.
yes, Your Honor, let me discuss the second purpose, which is to reduce the contributions of the members. In our opinion, Your Honor, that is something that PhilHealth itself cannot do at the moment. There is no mechanism provided under the Universal Healthcare Act that would authorize the reduction at this time of the contributions from the members. What we see in the Universal Healthcare is a schedule of the premium rates from 2019 down to 2025. But after 2025, there's nothing there. And there is neither any provision for a reduction of the contributions rates, the premium rates. So it is our opinion, Your Honor, that legislative action is necessary to bring down the contribution premium rates.
Right? That is your opinion, Mr. Solicitor General.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. But this court's, my reading is this. This is self-executive. And it is PhilHealth that must execute it because the law is in place already. Alright. Alright. On funding and program appropriations. How does Congress determine where to get the funds and which appropriations to realign?
Your Honor, under Special Provision 1B, there are various sources of funds, such as excess of revenue collections over the targets, or new revenues, whether these are tax or non-tax. There are foreign loans approved, which might also go into the pool. And finally, these new additional stores.
And excess reserve funds.
Excess,
Reserve funds.
no, it's called
As a result,
fund balance.
yes, as
Your
a
Honor.
result of the review and reduction scheme.
To reasonable levels of their
Reasonable level
reserve funds.
is discretionary. It does not fix standard.
There are
So-
guidelines, Your Honor, set by the Department of
Yes.
Finance for determining the computation of what should be a reasonable level.
Yes. According to the DOF, the funds to be remitted to the National Treasury will finance urgent national projects.
Asan
In
na yung
Annex
disco?
A
Sabi
of
ko yung
your
testo.
compliance, dated November 8, 2024, pages 1 to 4, the OSG
May
enumerated
testo ka
some
para
of
bigyan
these
mo sa akin eh.
projects, including routine
Ikaw pala yung nakachinelas
maintenance
kanina?
of national
Nakapa?
roads. The
Ikaw ba yung
Panay
nakapa kanina?
Guimaras Negros Island Bridges
Nakapa kanina,
for
ikaw?
the PG and Bridges
Hindi.
project and
Nakapa.
payment of
Oo,
right-of-way.
walang chinelas galing sa side.
These are all construction projects,
Oo, ganyan.
Mr.
Oo,
Solicitor
madaling araw.
General,
Oo.
correct?
Ginagawa
Not
mo
all
ba?
of them, Your Honor.
Hindi ko nga rin alam.
Not all of them, Your Honor. Some of them pertain to health projects.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
talking about the routine maintenance of national roads,
Nakita ko ni ano,
the PG and Bridges project, and
Oh.
payment of
Pasok na ako dito.
right-of-way. Correct?
In a sense, they are
Yes, they are.
ordinary expenses.
They
Minimum.
pertain to construction
natulog?
projects of the government. Correct.
Infrastructure.
Yes. You can call it that, infrastructure projects.
Sa site ka na
Correct.
galing eh.
With respect to the PG and Bridges project,
Ewan mo ako dun sa garden.
per DBM's budget of expenditures and source of financing,
Oh.
FY 2024 report,
Kasi naman umiyak ako dun
the
sa kabila.
PG and Bridges project appears to be fully funded by the Export-Import Bank of Korea in the amount of 174.49 billion.
Punta ka doon?
Is there an urgency to transfer the PhilHealth funds when the project is already fully funded?
Your Honor, this is a matter really of delving into the wisdom of the legislature in allocating funds.
Yes,
So when we
funding a project that is already fully funded under the category of unprogrammed funds.
I didn't quite get the
Programs.
question, Your
Yes.
Honor. Pardon me.
Yes. Export-Import Bank of Korea has loaned the Philippines 174.49 billion plus. Is there an urgency to transfer the PhilHealth funds when the project is already fully funded?
Your Honor, I think one consideration by the Congress in doing so is a determination of when a project is already implementable. So if a project that has already been identified and sufficiently funded is considered to be non-implementable for the given fiscal year, then I think it is the decision of the Congress in the exercise of its policy or wisdom, so to speak, to move it to the unprogrammed appropriations in the meantime.
Yes, all right. So, has the government moved this amount to the unprogrammed funds of the government?
There are so...
This
I'm sorry.
Export-Import Bank of Korea loan, has the government moved it to unprogrammed funds?
We will have to check on
Yes,
that. Whether
please check
that,
on that.
yes, whether that has been actually transferred only or removed altogether.
Yes.
Because there were certain removals made by the Congress in the proposed infrastructure or other projects
How
of the
can the government have removed this when it is a loan specifically for that purpose?
It is something that can be deferred, Your Honor, even
Yes,
if it's
what
funded.
is the reason for deferring it?
Your Honor, I cannot speculate on
Correct.
the reasons of the
I go now,
congressman.
yes, to my next question. Has the government spent even a single centavo from that loan, considering that the project has not even started?
Well, there is nothing to spend for if the project has not even started, Your
So
Honor.
where is the money?
Pupunta na naman si Mang
The
Tommy doon.
money went presumably to the National Treasury for the purpose of using it for projects and programs under the program.
So we have unused funds for the project, and yet we still got money from PhilHealth.
Shoutout po kay Korte Jasmine III. Good morning po. Kay Korte Jasmine III, say hi. Shoutout po guys. Good morning sir, musta ang duty? Okay naman sir, ang duty dito. Mainit.
Under special provision, number one of the unprogrammed appropriations is already there and is ready to be used for the projects under the unprogrammed appropriations. It is still a question of whether the implementing agency is ready to implement that project. So if the implementing agency does not think that it can implement such a project within the given year, then it will not ask for any allocation under the unprogrammed appropriations.
Yes, but aside from the foreign funding from Korea for this project, in 2022, there was additional funding from the GAA for this project.
Wag
in the
mong
amount
tangkain.
of 50 million.
May nakababad
in
ako.
2022. In 2023,
Wag mo nang
another
tangkain.
57 million.
Sampahin mo yan sa loob.
This is over and above the Korea Export-Import
Ano?
Bank of Korea loan. Where did this money go when the project has not even started?
We will
Ayusin yung ilalim.
check on that, Your Honor, because that is a very specific project which we have not really examined.
Yes,
We're
please
looking
do
at
that.
the totality of all the projects that were defunded or where the allocations have been reduced, and or some projects that had actually been removed from the program appropriations under the NEP, and which may have found themselves in the unprogrammed appropriations.
Yes, Mr. Solicitor General. And based on the special allotment release order, the use of funds for the PGN Bridge project is released on a quarterly basis, showing that the payment of funds is done in phases. More, based on the press release of the local government of Iloilo on the project timeline, the construction period for Section A, which is the 13-kilometer Panay-Guimaras project, is from a third quarter of 2025 up to the fourth quarter of 2020.
Yung makapagtalakbong.
Given these premises, what is the urgency of remitting the subject funds if the construction of the PG and Bridges project has already been funded and has yet to start in 2025.
Your Honor, the urgency is on the use of these available funds for all the projects listed under the unprogrammed appropriations. There are so many of them. I think 57 different
Yes,
purposes.
and it's one of them. And it shows that it has had multiple fundings. All right. On maintenance of national roads, which national roads are we referring to?
Your Honor, we can refer to the SARO released by the Department of Budget and Management to determine which particular projects had already availed themselves of funding from the provisions of special.
So there are no
provision.
specific national roads that are covered by the unprogrammed funds.
Your Honor, what is stated under the unprogrammed appropriations are purposes. Purposes, not specific particular project.
Correct.
Now, it depends on the implementing agency to determine which specific road project it wants to be implemented using the funds available from Special Provision 1.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. Solicitor General. In the 2024 GAA, there is already an appropriation for the maintenance of national roads under its special road fund of 15 million. 1.6 billion under maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of infrastructure facilities and other related activities. Routing maintenance of national roads and 463 million under maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of infrastructure facilities and other related activities. Routing maintenance of national bridges, all under the DPWH budget. More, per DPWH Department Order number 32 series of 2020, the road fund shall be remitted to the National Treasury and earmarked for the construction, upgrading, repair, and rehabilitation of roads, bridges, and road drainage. Perhaps each one of us pays the road tax each time we renew our licenses or we register our cars. Considering all these fundings, why is there a need to get additional funds from PhilHealth for the same road maintenance under the category of unprogrammed appropriations?
Your Honor, as I have explained earlier, during the deliberations of the budget, on the budget by the Congress, they determine whether
And maintenance of the roads that is already funded by billions under the GAA.
Your Honor, under the purposes listed under unprogrammed appropriations, the biggest chunk goes to social projects, including health projects. And as a matter of fact, as of December of 2024, the total amount of 46 billion pesos, thereabouts, more or less, had been devoted under the unprogrammed appropriation
and doctors also have to receive the reimbursement for their expenses. Otherwise, the quality of service to our Filipino people will suffer.
Your Honor, that expense is taken care of by the accumulated income of the PhilHealth, its corporate operating budget, and in addition, its reserve funds. So
Yes.
all of these expenditures, Your Honor, have already been considered and taken into account before PhilHealth determined what
I go now,
Congressman.
yes, to my next question. Has the government spent even a single centavo from that loan, considering that the project has not even started?
Well, there is nothing to spend for if the project has not even started.
So where is the money?
The money went presumably to the National Treasury for the purpose of using it for projects and programs under the unprogrammed
So we have
appropriations.
unused funds for the project, and yet we still got money from PhilHealth to supplement this fund that has been unused for years.
Not automatically, Your Honor, because even if the funds, even if the sources of funds under special provision, number one, of the unprogrammed appropriations is already there and is ready to be used for the projects under the unprogrammed appropriations, it is still a question of whether the implementing agency is ready to implement that project. So if the implementing agency does not think that it can implement such a project within the given year, then it will not ask for any allocation under the
Yes.
unprogrammed appropriations.
Yes, but aside from the foreign funding from Korea for this project, in 2022, there was additional funding from the GAA for this project in the amount of 50 million in 2022. In 2023, another 57 million. This is over and above the Korea Export-Import Bank of Korea loan. Where did this money go when the project has not even started?
So, ayan, nahuli
We
na
will
yung mga
check on that,
doble-dobleng
Your Honor,
project.
because that is a very specific project which we have not really examined.
Yes,
We're
please
looking
do
at
that.
the totality of all the projects that were defunded or where the allocations have been reduced,
Kasama nila sa
and or some projects that had actually been removed from the program appropriations under the NEP and which may have found themselves in the unprogrammed appropriations.
Yes, Mr. Solicitor General. And based on the special allotment release order, the use of funds for the PG and Bridge project is released on a quarterly basis, showing that the payment of funds is done in phases. More, based on the press release of the local government of Iloilo on the project timeline, the construction period for Section A, which is the 13-kilometer Panay-Guimaras project, is from a third quarter of 2025 up to the fourth quarter of 2028. Given these premises, what is the urgency of remitting the subject funds if the construction of the PG and Bridges project has already been funded and has yet to start in 2025?
Your Honor, the urgency is on the use of these available funds for all the projects listed under the unprogrammed appropriations. There are so many of them. I think 57 different
Yes, and
purposes.
it's one of them. And it's one of them. And it shows that it has had multiple fundings. All right. On maintenance of national roads, Which national roads are we referring to?
Your Honor, we can refer to the SARO released by the Department of Budget and Management to determine which particular projects had already availed themselves of funding from the provisions of special.
So there are no
provision.
specific national roads that are covered by the unprogrammed funds.
Your Honor, what is stated under the unprogrammed appropriations are purposes, not specific particular project.
Correct.
Now, it depends on the implementing agency to determine which specific road project it wants to be implemented using the funds available from Special Provision 1.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. Solicitor General. In the 2024 GAA, there is already an appropriation for the maintenance of national roads under its special road fund of 15 million, 1.6 billion under maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of infrastructure facilities and other related activities, routing maintenance of national roads, and 463 million under maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation of infrastructure facilities and other related activities, routing maintenance of national bridges, all under the DPWH budget. More, per DPWH Department Order number 32 series of 2020, the road fund shall be remitted to the National Treasury and earmarked for the construction, upgrading, repair, and rehabilitation of roads, bridges, and road drainage. Perhaps each one of us pays the road tax each time we renew our licenses or we register our cars. Considering all these fundings, why is there a need to get additional?
Nagarapan o. Pwede natin i-lifting dito sa sa bilingit. Kailangan lang sa elevator yan.
Sige sir, ano ko sa hauler?
Para isirado nila yung elevator dito sa kuwan, bilingit.
Additional funds from PhilHealth for the same road maintenance under the category of unprogrammed appropriations.
Your Honor, as I have explained earlier, during the deliberations of the budget, on the budget by the Congress, they determine whether some or a few or several of the projects identified by the proponent agency are something that can be implemented within the given fiscal year. So I cannot speculate, but I can only think of the reason that they may remove some of these specific projects identified in their belief that they cannot be implemented anyway or can wait until some future time, and therefore they remove them from the programmed appropriations.
Programmed appropriations, what I understand is this. There are already programmed appropriations, but in addition, unprogrammed funds were also sourced out from
Samson. Pasuyin mo na ako kung pati yun, right? Pakatin ako ng isang sako simento sa kabuhayan
Health
dito.
emergency allowances of medical workers who were supposed to be paid during the pandemic, but whose payment had been substantially delayed. So the very first payment made out of the unprogrammed appropriations went to the
Yes.
payment of the health emergency allowances of nurses and other medical workers.
But there is an overlap between this general purpose for unprogrammed funds on one hand and the special purpose for which PhilHealth funds have been constituted. Right. Now, the other projects funded from the GOCCs, including PhilHealth, include management and supervision of comprehensive peace process, payment of personnel benefits, priority social programs for health, social welfare and development, higher education, and technical and vocational education, revised AFP modernization program, pension and gratuity fund, financial subsidy for purchase of photovoltaic mainstreaming for rural electrification. Now, may I ask, which comprehensive peace process does this refer to?
I'm not sure exactly which is being referred to, but I suppose that refers to the long and ongoing peace process that has started many administrations ago and which has not been completed. So I suppose this includes the peace process involving our brothers in southern Mindanao.
Yes, but like the other programs, under the unprogrammed appropriations, the 2024 GAA already has an item under the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity for this purpose, which is 459 million plus. We're flashing it on the screen. What is the need for additional 688 million plus budget under the unprogrammed appropriations? Is the peace process part of the mandate of PhilHealth?
Again, Your Honor, I cannot speculate why Congress put such a project under the unprogrammed appropriations.
Precisely, we are here, okay,
Yes, Your Honor, but
to evaluate whether the assignment of this item, the inclusion, is proper. Is it valid? Is it constitutional?
Your Honor, it's just a list. The matter of actual availment will have to be determined by the implementing
Yes,
agency.
but because of that list, 89 billion funds of the PhilHealth, minus the last remittance, it was transferred to the National Treasury.
Your Honor, again, this is a matter which should be addressed to the wisdom and the policy of the legislature. So I believe, will not be in a position to say that a certain appropriation is right or
Yes.
wrong or proper or improper.
Yes.
We have to rely on the wisdom of the
Which
people
is
who represent us.
a political question.
In that
Except
sense,
only
yes.
if it is tainted with grave abuse of discretion.
Exactly, Your Honor.
All right. What about the personnel benefits? The amounts needed to implement the salary adjustments of the national government from the respective agencies' budgets per National Budget Circular number 591 of the DBM. Why is this item charged against PhilHealth and categorized as unprogrammed?
There is an existing appropriation for that. under the program appropriations, Your
Yes.
Honor. But in addition, or probably in substitution of a part of the amount already allocated in the program, the
Nasaan na raw
appropriations,
sila? Wala pa?
Congress deemed it proper to include as a standby this particular item if funds would be available
All right.
to support it.
Standby. But the reserve funds is not just standby. All right. Now, meanwhile, for priority social programs for health, the DOH budget under the 2024 GAA already includes 28 billion plus for the implementation of health facilities
balita.
enhancement program and 58 billion plus for medical assistance for indigent and financially incapacitated